This is the new RackMate TL1 by DeskPi. It's a 10-inch rack that is along the line of their other RackMate mini networking and server racks. These are great for small network appliances or mini PCs and things like that to fit in a single space, to have everything in one spot, almost like a DMARC or an MDF or IDF, but for your home. This one is actually pretty unique, and let me show you why. So inside the box, we've got an instruction manual and one tray of hardware, and then another tray of hardware with some tools and things to put everything together. So first thing we'll do is just pull it all out of the box and put it all on the table so we can assemble this quickly and easily. All right, so we've got 4 of these corner posts, 2 square frame pieces for a top and a bottom, handles, feet, hardware screws, and some tools to put it all together. In the past, these came not necessarily pre-assembled, but some of the models came pre-assembled. The TT was definitely put it together yourself. And these have no plexiglass sides or top cover or bottom cover or anything like that. So you get a lot more flexibility here. And let's put this together and see what it looks like. Shouldn't take very long to assemble, but let's find out. So these are the 4 posts, of course, and then these are the squares for top and bottom. It doesn't matter, they're both the same, so it doesn't matter if one or the other is used as the top or the bottom, so there's no mixing anything up there. But it does have little grooves on the underside that help align with where these are going to sit on the corner posts. And I tend to find it easier to kind of use the edge of your table and screwed in from the underside. Now, first off, there are 2 different size of these tapered screws here, a longer one and a shorter one. The longer ones are going to assemble the whole thing together. They're going to be used in the corners. The shorter ones are going to be used for the handles. It really is easy to put together once you get into the groove of things. Now, before I go any further, I wanted to show this. This is a pretty cool feature that they added. The corners of these rail pieces actually have a transparent piece of almost like plexi, but it's like flexible plastic here. And this allows you to drop an LED strip on the inside and then cover it up with this to give it a bit of a glow and allow you to really customize the entire mini server rack. It does hold up to 10mm wide LED strips. I don't have any LED strips at the moment, so I can't really show that off, but they do sell some on their website as well. We've got our 4 posts assembled. Now we just got to put our top on. I would recommend when you're putting on the top piece, you tighten down one corner and then each of the other corners just slide in the screw and get it started before you go tightening it down really tight. That way everything gets aligned as expected. And then just like you're changing a tire, tighten them diagonal from each other. And if one of the corners is kind of tight like that one just was, flip it over, loosen the bottom, and then you can put everything back together and then tighten it all down. What it comes down to is don't force it. It should all screw together easily. You don't want to accidentally cross thread one of these screws. And boom, just like that, we've got ourselves a wide open 4-post rack. Now we can put the handles on whatever side we decide is going to be the top. If you're going to do the LEDs, like I said, you're going to want to do those before you put the top on, or after the fact. You can always take the top back off and run your LEDs then, however you want to do that with each of the corners. And looks like the little grooves on the insides of these cover piece, the top and bottom cover square pieces, have a little notch, like a little cutout, where the wires from the LED strip can come out and then you can run them to a power supply somewhere else. That's really good thinking ahead. So backing up, actually, the feet are held in place by the corner screws. So it comes with these rubber or plastic feet that sit on the bottom, or that the whole thing uses to sit on, and these little felt covers that go over the top of the feet to cover the screw head, as well as make it a little easier on the surface that it sits on. So if you got this far like me, you're going to want to go back and undo and then do these again one by one. Not a big deal, but now we know to do them this way from the start. So that way the screw sits through the center of the feet, and then we just rescrew them in place. And then the last one. All right, now we have our feet on our mini server rack, 4-post mini rack here, and we'll put our handles on. These take the smaller of the recessed head screws. Good thing you get extras. One extra. Again, don't tighten down both sides just yet. Put one side on, then the other side. That way everything aligns up, then you can tighten them down. There we go. We've got handles on our 4-post rack. Now comes the interesting part. Put all this off to the side for the moment. So because this does use the new standard of 10-inch form factor for accessories, pretty much anything that's a 10-inch size will fit in here, like trays. So if you want to use mini PCs, you can do that. The 10-inch trays for Raspberry Pis, or the 2U Raspberry Pi mounts, maybe patch panels, or even a switch. For example, I 3D printed a stand or a mount for a little dumb switch that will fit right in here. In fact, let's do that now. I do also want to say that I like how they have the mounting holes off center for each U, so that you can put half U size gear in place as well without it really taking up a whole U of space. So there we are. I've got a switch installed in the front, and you can kind of see on the side here that it doesn't go all the way back, which is great actually, because say I wanted to put a mini PC right underneath it. I could. Like, let's do that now. The point of this is that this is what I meant by versatility. You've got a lot of flexibility in ways that you can really customize and mount these accessories in this 4-post rack. You're not limited to just the front and back like you are with the T1 and the T2, heck, even the TT or T0. Don't get me wrong, I love those cases. In fact, I have each one. I use them for different needs. So we can see, like, you know, I've got a patch panel here, I've got a switch up here, I've got a shelf underneath it that's facing a separate way. You can see you can get really customizable with this. For example, this is the side. You can kind of see how the handles are this way. I've got my own 3D printed patch panel here with some Cat6 ports, some USBs, and some HDMIs. And then a little bit further down, this is a rack for Raspberry Pis that's sold by DeskPi. On the other side, which on the T1 or T0 or even the T2, these would be plexiglass, and you wouldn't be able to do anything as far as mounting options on the sides. So I love that this is a little bit more versatile. And really, if you wanted to, you know, get really custom and do it yourself, you can create like cutout plexiglass to this size if you have the ability to do that, or the tools to do that. So on the other side, you can see I've got a 3D printed mount for a switch, a dummy switch. Under that's a patch panel. And then say this is what we'd call the front. I've got a shelf where I could put a mini PC. And then on the back, I've got Raspberry Pi mounts with SSD hats as well. Say you wanted to put a PDU in here as well, or a power distribution unit, maybe a screen on the front. You could really customize this the way that you want. DeskPi does also sell covers, so if you get this all put together with all of your gear and you want to close up the open holes, you can get some of those covers, or you can even 3D print your own and put designs on them or whatever, maybe different colors. If you've got LEDs that would accent those colors of the 3D printed stuff. Super customizable, and I really, really enjoy this form factor. These tiny racks are great for a lot of different reasons, not just saving space, but helping to consolidate some of your home lab. Like I use mine for a sandbox. I've got servers and switches and things all within one of the server racks that is considered my sandbox. It's on its own VLAN, separated from the rest of the network. It can't communicate with the primary network. So if I break stuff in here, it's not going to infect the rest of the LAN. But this is pretty sweet. This is the RackMate TL1 by DeskPi. Really easy to put together, very versatile, a lot of different options for customizing it the way that you want.